What's going on, everyone? It's the People's Envoy Updog here with you, and today we are going to show some footage over the new Crucible rooms for Season 11. So let's jump into it. I did a lot of testing. It wasn't really meant for beating the teams that I went into the rooms for. It was more about testing the rooms and making sure the rooms are working properly. So let's get into my round one of testing. And so this is my room 6. What's up, dog? And basically everybody's been asking me, does drain work? Does health steal work? Does redistribute health work? So let's answer some of those questions here. So I brought APOC because he steals health. I brought Blade because he has drain. And my Blade, this was our live rosters copied over to the test server. So my Blade is kind of small. So that's why I brought Dorm in here against the Black Knight Illuminati. Now, Illuminati isn't going to be... I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a good option for Room 6, but you'll see that because they can't heal from Hank, they don't quite hold up as well as they would in other rooms. So I personally wouldn't recommend Illuminati in here because they'll be easier to beat in this room versus other rooms. So if you want to use Illuminati on defense, use them in another room. Don't use them in this room. I personally think that Mephisto in room 6 is the way to go. And we'll see why here in a little bit in the video. But let's get on to this one here first. We'll show you about some of the how some of the mechanics work with the no healing in this room. So let's get going. So my Black Knight resisted the charge steal from Shuri. This is Dorky Dad's team, so I was pretty happy with that. And APOC almost is destroyed. So Blade's ult is a health steal and redistribute to himself as well as APOC has that as well. So he has drain and the health steal. As you just saw, he didn't do any of that. Didn't get any health from drain or the health steal. So basically proving that you will not heal at all, no matter what mechanic it is, you will not be healing in this room. So that's why I think, that's part of the reason why I think Mephisto is going to be good in this room 6. So the next team I ran was Illuminati APOC and back into this same Illuminati Black Knight team. I forgot to check on the first match if the safeguard was being removed by APOC on the enemy team. So that's a check that I wanted to do. I also wanted to do the health steal with APOC just to see what would happen because he died in the first match. So let's go see what happens. Alright, so they're spawning in. They get their buffs and no safeguard. So the removal of safeguard works with APOC, so that's a good thing. And then we get to APOC's turn. He gets to ult. Let's see if we can get to his empowered basic here. That ult definitely hurts Illuminati a lot, so that was good to see. The problem is though that Captain Britain doesn't allow APOC to get his speed bar filled up so that he can take an immediate another turn. I've been used to that for quite a while now, going into like Annihilator Scroll teams, using just Captain Britain and APOC and then like Tangled and stuff like that. So it's not too big of a deal for me, but the problem is we end up killing the Illuminati faster than I wanted to. So don't believe APOC actually got to use his punch here. And the other problem is with the Crucible test server, or at least this version. Well, no, I guess it's any version. Any part of the test server with Crucible if you want to keep going into and doing more testing on the same team, you have to quit out, which is what you see right here. So I didn't get to use the APOC. Oh, there, he died right there anyway. I didn't get to use the APOC basic, but I'm assuming it won't work because it didn't work for Blade, so it shouldn't work for APOC either. So the last test that I wanted to do on room 6 was with Ares in there, making sure that he will remove the safeguard. So let's go check that out real quick. Alright, here we go. We all spawn in, and no safeguard. Perfect. Alright, everything's working pretty good so far. Alright, now room 1, when I first read the rules for this, I think I kind of misinterpreted what the devs were trying to go for here. And so I think I understand it more now, that you want your team to have a lot of vulnerables, so that way when they take their turn, they dish out a lot more damage. And you don't want the enemy team, obviously, the team that is attacking into you, like let's say you're setting your defense, right? Like, so this Orcus team doesn't want a lot of vulnerables on my team so that we don't do a lot of damage. So what I was testing here was I took the out of time team, because they basically how they work is they let the other team attack into them, use up all their abilities, and then they dish out the damage. So that's what I was trying to go with here. I probably shouldn't have done Fortifier, Purple Fortifier on Black Knight. So I will show you another attack where I have him as Striker. But basically, yeah, I want to build up all the vulnerables on my end and then dish out the damage on the Orcus. So let's go see how that went. Alright, so we are getting going here. We're getting some damage. Getting some vulnerables out there on my characters. Now, I was hoping, too, that this Black Knight, if he had a bunch of vulnerables, that he'd be doing a lot of damage on his retaliates. But he actually didn't really feel like he did a lot. Now, I don't know if this is a product of being on the test server, if the live server is going to feel the same way, but it just didn't feel like my characters who had the, 3-4 vulnerables, they really weren't doing that much damage. It didn't feel like. An extra 400% damage, you would think you would notice quite a bit, But it just wasn't the case for me, at least in this match. I'll show you the Striker match here, the Striker Black Knight. See if he does any more damage, but he just really wasn't scratching these guys at all. Alright, so we changed him to Striker. Let's go see how this goes. The Black Knight's already got 4 vulnerables on him already early in the match here. Lady Deathstrike goes, does her ult. Black Knight retaliates. Just doesn't do a lot of damage. I don't know if it's because it's his retaliate isn't part of that extra damage calculation. That's like my only guess as to why he's not doing a lot of damage. Maybe it's just on your active abilities, not your passive abilities. If it is just the active, then they need to probably be a little bit more clear on that. So in the rules, it actually says when attacking, gain 100% damage. So technically, I would consider, now this is an attack here. He doesn't have any vulnerables, but I would technically consider his retaliate, and he's attacking there, right? So I think they just need to probably clarify that a little bit more in the text. And if you watch here, Dorm is going to ult with 5 vulnerables. You'd think that'd be a crazy amount of damage. It killed Sentinel. It did pretty good. I mean, but not like 500% extra damage though. It doesn't seem like that would be the case with that attack. I don't know. Maybe it is with the new stats, but it just doesn't seem like it's there. I have a feeling it's either going to be bugged in the live server, or It's just not working properly because it's the test server. Those are my two guesses. But for me, my experience in this room, that the rules for this room just are not going to be that impactful. So I would just treat it like a blank room. Now, Dorky did have a good idea using Photon in this room, although I think A-Force probably isn't quite the right choice to put in here. This is room 4, so yeah, I think he's on to something here, but I think we may just need to adjust a few characters on this defense to make it work a little better. So yeah, but it's definitely a good idea. If you look at Photon's passive, she actually decreases accuracy even more if somebody has blind, and since this is this room gives blind every time characters ult, then yeah, it's pretty good combination. But I think with Secret Defenders instead of A-Force, it would be a lot better choice. He was trying to go cheap on defense, which makes sense too. So then we have room 5 with the Unlimited X-Men and Masters of Evil kind of gaining each other's traits. And I suggested this room on my graphic, on my first impressions graphic. And so I wanted to see how cheap we can get by to counter this room, to counter this team. So I'm using Ares, I'm using Ultimus, and then the 3 Masters of Evil. So let's go see how that goes. So no safeguard because of Ares. Rogue normally will give that to all the Unlimited X-Men. And so we do have to get past the taunt from Absorbing Man, but we do that pretty easy. And then we ability block the Rogue and put Disrupt over there on her. It pretty much plays out the same way that you normally would play it out, but you just don't have Absorbing Man because I put the same team on defense. So I just don't have Absorbing Man. I just have to kind of make sure that my important characters don't get deleted. We special on the Forge there. With Ultimus, I didn't want to use up his ult yet because there wasn't a lot of buffs on anybody for me to punch the crap out of him. So now this is unavoidable from Ares, so that's crucial to land that ability block on Forge. And then I decide to go for the ult here to rewind a little bit, and I kill the Absorbing Man. That pushes the Forge, but he's ability blocked. Then we just go all in on the Forge so that he doesn't become a problem. Kill him, and we kill Rogue, I believe. Yep. So just Nightcrawler and Gambit left, so fairly easy. We did lose Moonstone, but whether or not you can afford to use Ares in this match is another question. It'll depend on what your opponent has on defense, but this is definitely still doable to get around with Masters of Evil and a few other characters. I thought it might be a little bit more of a nightmare, but yeah, there you have it. So remember how I was talking about how you should put Mephisto in room 6 no matter what? That's basically going to be his room. This is why, because Odin normally he will counter Mephisto easily, right? However, in room 6, since we don't have the healing, Odin really relies on that healing a lot from his basic. When he shoots his laser sword, Gungnir or something like that. Let me know down in the comments how you actually phonetically pronounce that. But anyway, he shoots his laser sword across everybody. Usually it melts people, right? But he also gets a heal from that. It's a health steal and a redistribute, and that is one of the keys that keeps him alive during Mephisto matches. But he won't have that in this room, so I'll show you what happened. Now I did choose a fast team to kind of get Odin rolling with his with his battlefield effect. And so that's why I chose New Warriors. I just felt like maybe I could get a little bit of extra damage, killing some bots here and there. So that's why I went with them. But really, this is all about showing you that having Mephisto is dangerous in this room because of what can happen to Odin. Alright, so Mephisto puts out his pact, but we all have immunity, so go away, Mephisto. He targets Odin, so that in itself is not great RNG right there. Orcus has all their buffs because of the room rules and everything, and plus all the other buffs that they normally get. So it's just crazy how much they get. Then I ult on the bot just to try and get a bunch of damage on him. I want the Mephisto, or not the Mephisto, the Odin to assist to try and knock him down even lower. Then we special on the bot, steal more health just to get him down. Now he's in stealth, so that sucks. We're going into Lady Deathstrike because we want her down too. And look at that, Odin is just about dead. He can special, he won't heal up though. He's gonna get that speed up and the barrier, but that's it. And the offense up is nice too, but... So, the bots are doing... The AI is doing everything it can to try and kill that Odin. So Odin's starting to melt people, but he is just hanging on by a thread here. And now Mephisto's the only one I can target. Okay, now I had to back out. I had to back out before I killed everyone and I couldn't test this room anymore. But as you saw there, it's going to be really sketchy for Odin to survive in that room. If you have an even worse team than Orcus with Mephisto, it's going to be really rough. So if you try your Odin counter and it doesn't work, don't say I didn't warn you. Now, Mobile Gamer was being a little sneaky on me and snuck in that death pool. I didn't really notice her at first, but I thought at first it was just a full Bifrost team, and so I just ran Spider Society in there, and they still do win, but it was a little bit sneaky putting Deathpool in there. So we'll talk about the raid room here for the end of the video. And once you get past the burst damage that the Bifrost members put out, it's pretty easy to get through them. You know, if you just target Sylvie on that with that Noir ult, if you can get her down early, then it's really super easy. I was trying to be a little bit risky, but yeah, even with that, this match is basically over already, so hasn't even been a minute yet. So Spider Society can beat that version of the Bifrost hybrid. They can beat the regular Bifrost. I did try Hive Mind, and I think Deathpool is in there to kind of counter Hive Mind. You know, it's been like 3 or 4 seasons since we had a raid room, so it was hard to remember how Deathpool changed things, but Hive Mind is not a good idea into this version because of the death pool. If you can, again, kind of like what I just said with Spider Society, if you can survive the first burst damage that they get, then it's fine. But as you saw there, Red Goblin died, and yeah, it's just over from there, because Red Goblin will revive your Hive Mind and keep you in the game if somebody dies early from all that burst damage, but because he didn't survive because of the death pool, then that's why they don't do so well there. So let's talk a little bit more about raid room teams you might see. Now, big shout out to Old Timey Gaming here. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. But we did some PvP. Yes, PvP does still exist in the game. It's kind of hidden. If you don't know how to get there, I'll let you know. If you want to you want to find me on Discord, I can tell you how to get to it. But so this obviously doesn't have the raid room or raid rules active, but you can kind of see how it'll play out. Now, Orcus does have quite a few mechanics in raids where they, like, Scientist Supreme will put trauma on her ult, with her ult. Oath will put trauma out on her ult, I believe it is. And then Sentinel, he doesn't allow immunity, and who is it? Somebody else doesn't allow like deflect and defense up or something like that on the Orcus team. So there's quite a few mechanics that aren't in play here. But the one thing that does kind of concern me is the Scientist Supreme putting trauma and slow on everybody. It'll be everybody on the Night Stalkers team. I think that might overpower these guys, because even though they are fast, having that offense down and the slow is really gonna not be good for these guys. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm thinking, I don't know, Orcus might be the way to go if you want to do him in the raid room. They might be the team to beat. Unless you have Spider Society on offense, I think Spider Society might be able to beat them, because Pav will not allow speed up. So when Orcus goes, when Scientist Supreme goes, she will not be able to give that speed up out if you're attacking into them. But let's show you what happens, I guess, outside of the raid room. So in case you see Orcus outside of there, this is what would happen with a Night Stalkers team. So I'm using my Orcus. Old Timey's using his Night Stalkers. So it does kind of depend on where the bot spawns. But he went ahead and ulted there. Agatha ults and just deletes my characters. She hasn't even pinged. There we go. She's pinging there. And then Oath cleans up and it's over. So that's not going to be how it plays out in the raid room, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm thinking Orcus has enough in their kits to stop Night Stalkers, but Night Stalkers might have more damage, I guess. I don't know if they really have enough sustain, though. I don't know. Especially if there's a small man thing out there, I think Orcus probably wins. Now, the last meeting I had with the devs, the envoys had with the devs, I asked them the question, like, so for the raid room, because we knew there was going to be raid room in Crucible, for the raid room, who do you think, which team do you think is going to be better in there? The Orcus team or a Night Stalkers team? And they thought that whoever the human-controlled team was going to win. So basically, if there's Orcus on defense and you use Night Stalkers, you should win. If Night Stalkers is on defense and you use Orcus, you should win. I don't know. It'll all depend on size of the characters and how well you can control the other team, I think. I don't think it's going to be quite rock, paper, scissors this time for the raid room. But I do want to remind you guys that if somebody uses some of the older raid teams, like we talked about a little bit ago, so if there's Hive Mind on defense, Pegasus can beat Hive Mind. Hive Mind can beat Bifrost, just regular Bifrost, not with Deathpool. So Hive Mind can beat regular Bifrost. If there's Deathpool in there, then either Spider Society, or if you can afford it or have it, Scroll Hive Mind can beat that. And then Bifrost beats Pegasus. Now, if you haven't done that match or haven't seen it, make sure to look at the MSF counters.gg spreadsheet from Season 7, I believe it was. We had the raid room last. You'll be able to see a bunch of videos on that. It feels really bad for the first like minute and a half to 2 minutes, because Pegasus will take a crap ton of turns. Bifrost will just sit there, and hopefully they don't die because they have like 3 death proofs. You just wait out the damage, and then you go in and kill them. So that's how the Bifrost into Pegasus works. And then if you have Spider Society, what we know for sure is that Hive Mind with Pav or Hive Mind Scroll will beat Spider Society. However, I do think that Night Stalkers will probably beat Spider Society too. They have heal blocks, they have a lot of damage, so I do think Night Stalkers will beat them. I'm not sure if Orcus will. Like I said, it all depends on character size. A lot of people have 2 and 3 diamonds, gear 19 on everybody on the Spider Society, so they could be a tough room to take out, I think. You could probably still do like a Sinister Superior 6 maybe against them as well, but we do know for sure Hive Mind with Scroll or Pav works, so keep those in mind. I hope that helps. Sorry for the long video, everyone. Just trying to go over everything for what to expect for the new season, so make sure you spend those resources wisely, everyone. We will see you around.